All right. Did I do it? I think I did it. Hi, everyone. Um, just kind of slowly getting myself set up here. Please let me know in the comments if you can hear me and see me, just because I want to make sure that's working. I did test it, but I would love to know if it's, fully working. I see it, we're trickling in slowly but surely. So I'm going to kind of give it a minute here, and then we will jump into what we're doing. As you can see, we've got the candle things over here. We've got the Reiki box things over here too. Oh, perfect. Thank you. And now I have my computer here and I have my camera here. So it's like I'm going to be practicing my angles today. So thank you so much for coming and joining us on the live. Happy winter solstice for those of you in the northern hemisphere, and happy summer solstice for those of you in the southern hemisphere. It is officially the darkest day of the year, but now we kind of get to move towards the light in the northern hemisphere. And of course, here in Buffalo, it's already freezing and cold, so just kind of slowly slogging along. So good to see all of you as you're kind of trickling in. Love it. So I did print all of your kind of questions here. So we'll go through them kind of as the in between for our candle pouring and our Reiki box. So a lot of really good questions, a lot of really interesting questions. I was just putting them together today because I didn't want a long time to think about them, just because I tend to be an overthinker. So I just looked at them officially today and I was kind of putting some together just to kind of organize them a little bit. There are some overlaps, so you might find that your question is answered by somebody else's question. And if that's the case, I'll just kind of make a note as we move along. This is also a very friendly reminder that if you didn't put a question in, you're welcome to put a question in the chat and I'll try and get to it as we go. And then also, if you wanted your name in for the Reiki box, you can put your name in the chat and I will take care of it. Yes, Petra, I have your question here too. So wonderful. So good to see you, I guess, right? Meet you and all that great things. Very exciting. So, all right, we'll give it like one more minute and then it's time. We're going to get right into it. So hopefully all goes well, as this is still new territory for me with the lives. Hopefully I don't drop anything, burn anything, or, make a mess. My husband was like, "Are you sure you want to make a candle live if, you're going to drip anything?" And I was like, "No, it'll be fine. I've done this all the time." So here's hoping. All right. So, okay, I'm going to clear my workspace here and let's get into it. It's going to be kind of like a cooking show. So what we're going to do is I'm actually just going to walk you through the process of how I make candles, just if you were ever curious. I do tend to make candles for everything. I don't like to buy really heavily scented candles. Also, I don't like to use paraffin, just because when you burn it, it doesn't really release great things into the air. Actually, my mix is going to be about 80% beeswax, 20% soy wax. So basically what this is because number one, beeswax is really great at purifying the air. The science behind it is that it binds to positive ions because beeswax releases negative ions. When those connect, they get heavy and then they fall to the floor. So basically, it just kind of helps to clean the air. The thing with beeswax is, number one, it's expensive. Number two, it cracks and it doesn't always adhere nicely to glassware. So I like to kind of cut it a little bit with soy wax because that's a little bit softer and you tend to get it to stick to the jar a little bit better. It's also nice, economically speaking, to kind of make your beeswax go a little bit longer. And for me, I love the scent of beeswax. It has a very honey-like smell. So it's kind of just wonderful all around. So we have here our lovely little, I will gladly add your name and your dog's. So I actually do not use wooden wicks. Typically, I stay away from them just because in the past, when I have used them with soy wax, they weren't giving me enough of a flame, which was resulting in pooling, and then the wax would kind of just consume the wick entirely. So I actually use, especially for beeswax, because you need a very high heat wick. This is cotton. So this is a core cotton wick. So I bought it, and these are just, they're technically like those like 7-day votive candles. And I purchased this online. So just going to make sure there's no more questions here. Emily, I got you. I'm going to just kind of make my notes as I go for those ones too. All right, so we have Emily. I'm going to get the dogs because Petra, I have you, so I will put those on. Wonderful. And Christy, I got you too. And okay, so I'm going to kind of periodically jump back and forth as best I can. All right, so back to my candle making 101. So basically, I have it set so we have our wick here, we have our popsicle stick and our clothespin, just kind of keeping the wick nice and taut. And I made a backup because every once in a while you'll get it where the wax will lift the sticker part off the bottom of the jar, and then we have problems. So we have a backup just in case. And then that brings us to our lovely contraption over there. So this handy dandy little guy over here is my wax melter. In the past, you are not late. I'm happy you are here. Happy to have you here. So in the past, I used to double boiler my wax on the stove, which is great if you're kind of just getting started. But it would take a long time, and sometimes the water would mix with the wax, which is a no-go. So I've kind of slowly graduated over time here. And when I do candle making parties, this is very handy. So I already have the wax pre-melted because it takes about an hour to melt when it's beeswax, just because it's very slow melting. So what we'll do is we'll pour it into our handy dandy kind of little pitcher here. And then it does have to cool for a little bit. So we'll tackle some questions from there. So I'm going to step off to the side and kind of fill this up and get it ready, and we'll go from there. Before I do that, hello, my friends. Good to see you. Also, if you feel like you did come in late, you honestly didn't miss much, but don't worry, this will be kind of put into the YouTube channel itself, so you can rewatch it at any time. And oh, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy the coziness. So this is my, it's my like office slash what I like to now call like the studio. So this is kind of a bunch of, I'll just get out of the way for a second. I'll have my show and tell moment. So this is my collection of things. I always say I feel like a magpie just because I love all of the just shiny aesthetic things. So I have some books that I have enjoyed. I also have more books in my cabinet just because they all can't fit. I have, this is just kind of, this is a piece of rainbow moonstone that my friend gave me, and it's a stone that I personally really resonate. The melter I use is called it's called Besnel. So it's honestly what they actually would use in a salon as well. So if you wanted to check that out, I think I got it long ago, maybe on Amazon. But it's just a simple wax melter. It's, again, something that they actually might use in a salon as well. And oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. All right. So anyway, we have kind of this like little part one of a shrine area. And then we have, this is just kind of, I guess, like deities that I would draw inspiration from, or just kind of like really special energies, if you will. Like I have a Buddha here. I have Mary here. I actually have Freya and Odin there too. So it's just kind of like a mix of different energies that I work with from time to time, or just kind of connect with in a way. And then this is my, as I'm sure you've seen it before, it's my catch-all shelf, is what I like to call it. It's got oils, it's got crystals. It's just when I don't know where to put something, this is where it goes. And then once you get below that, these are kind of more my knick-knacky shelves and things like that. So 9 times out of 10, it's a mess and there's just a lot of things going on. So as you kind of have seen, I also have my other working space over there that I've started doing in videos. It just makes it easier if I'm doing some like arts and crafts kinds of things. It just is another spot for me to record. So even though it looks very different, it's literally 5 steps away from me that way. So, all right, back to what I was doing. I'm going to collect our wax for our intention candle. All right, so collecting the wax. Metal always gets nice and hot. So if I was to be working with different scent oils and things like that, I would be really conscious of how much wax I'm putting, and I'd probably be weighing it. But because it's just beeswax, it's just going to get dumped back in if there's any extra. All right, where is that? Okay, I'll put that here. Okay, so like I said, that's pretty hot, so I'm going to need a little bit of time. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think I'm organized. Like I say, it's kind of like I had people coming to the house, so I had to make sure it was kind of organized looking so it wasn't getting too crazy on me. But I'm glad you appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, please feel free to ask. So, and yes, I sure can add your name. Strange way. Okay. So let me just get one more sip here. I feel like I am fighting laryngitis. It's like on the cusp of we're either going to be good or it's not going to be good. So hopefully I can hold out and then not get sick on the holidays, but we'll see. Okay. Oh, hello, my friend from Australia and Brazil. I will put you in the box, of course. And I have no idea what time it is in Australia, but I hope it's not too late or too early. Okay. All right. So that being said, why don't we do a couple questions that I have here? So I have them again collected in kind of organized chaos, I think is a great word for that. Yeah, laryngitis is not any good. Oh, goodness. And that's also super early. So don't be late. So the Reiki box, so basically in a second, we're just going to be making a box where we're collecting energy for the collective. But if you specifically want to put yourself in, feel free to drop your name in and I will put you in there. So I'm collecting it on the back of my paper as we go. So again, feel free. And then I pre-wrote the ones on this little slip of paper. So I have everyone collected here. And then these ones that are asking, I will add you in a second. So Jill, I got you as well. Angie, I got you too. So we are good. Okay. Again, feel free to keep adding. I will just kind of keep writing as we go. No big deal. Nicole, I got you too. And Carrie Lynn, I got you too. Okay. So let's do, how hot is this? Pretty hot. We'll do 3 questions. All right, so I have my questions here. I made them nice and big because apparently I'm struggling to read. So here we go. All right, we have Mila, and her question, it's kind of a couple, so we'll kind of break it down as we go. So we have, is it difficult for you to get in contact with the collective and its necessities? So it's a couple questions, so we'll start there. So basically, when I do a session, I do it a couple different ways. So when I'm doing it for you and the collective, I basically kind of sit for a little bit to see what types of things I'm getting. Sometimes I'll get like a kind of a spark of inspiration, and I treat that as the collective might benefit from this kind of thing. I do get requests from time to time as well. So for me, it kind of, as much as I worry about it during the week of like, what am I going to do this week? What am I going to do? Something always happens where it always just becomes clear for what I need to do. I always like to call that like being in the flow, if you will. So I feel like over time, it just kind of syncs itself up, if you will. There are times where I might flip tarot cards or do runes to kind of gain some insight. But for the most part, I usually kind of get this inspiration and it all works out. When you use the pendulum and you've had a hard day before, what's your favorite technique to detach yourself from everyday life and enter a state of receptivity? And then the follow up to this is, do you think that during a tarot reading and use of the pendulum that there's something in common? So one type of term that I like to use is kind of like being in the flow. So I think when you're referring to this idea of being receptive, to me, it's very much so this just kind of being able to step out of what's going on around you and just kind of tuning into this larger kind of world, if you will. So for me, when I want to become receptive, a lot of times meditation with focused breathing is a really great way. Other things like knitting or crochet without listening to anything is a really great way to kind of get into a flow state for like a rhythm. And then also exercise is another great way to kind of, for me, achieve a bit of a flow state or kind of detach. Just because my body is working so hard, I can't always focus on everything else that's going on. So it helps me to really kind of step into the moment, if you will. And then in terms of the pendulum and tarot, I do think that they have like that shared, they touch on kind of like energy in itself. So, yes, when you use the pendulum, when you use tarot, there's definitely kind of this connection to this collective energy. So, it is similar in terms of what it connects to, but the use is kind of different. Pendulum for me is more of a diagnostic tool, whereas tarot is more of a kind of looking at the bigger picture tool. So, I use them both, but I use them in different ways. Typically, I'll use pendulums in my energy healing session, whereas my tarot is more so if I'm working with someone through a problem, or if we're looking at options, kinds of things, or just kind of orienting oneself in their life. So I hope that answers your question. Um, saying that you may not be able to participate, but that's okay because hopefully you're able to watch this later. So, really quick, jumping to yes, Christina, I gotcha. Our chat, perfect. Okay. All right. Next question we have from Lindsay. So Lindsay says, I had never heard of Reiki before finding your channel or any mystic arts, but I am smitten. Thank you. What are the mystic arts that you practice and how did you come to know about all this? So follow up is what got you started on this path? It's like the origin story, right? So I had first gotten into all of this when I was in probably about, I would say, in like a couple years into high school. I had a friend who, still good friends with, she was very into Wicca at the time. So that meant she had all the things that I thought were fascinating. I was raised in a Catholic family, so we didn't have any of that. But she had crystals, she had tarot cards, she had all of these books that I thought were so fascinating. So, in by kind of developing our friendship, I realized that I was really interested in this. And then I became really interested in her tarot deck. So I started to kind of on the sly learn about tarot. And then once I kind of learned about tarot, I just kind of learned more about energy and energy healing. And I got really interested. And then I kind of found a book on Reiki and I started reading about Reiki and I decided something I'm really interested in. So it was college because it was 2013. So that is when I started learning Reiki. And then I just kind of kept anything that interested me, I kind of spent some time learning about and just thought about how can I integrate that into my own practice. So I would say high school is like when the gateway started of me with tarot, and then it just kind of expanded into Reiki, and then tarot and Reiki, and then runes came in, and it just kind of all kept growing. So what is the best way to learn more about mystic arts for someone just starting out? Honestly, the first step is to find what interests you. And once you find something that interests you, there's so many resources in this day and age, whether it's a book, whether it's YouTube channels to kind of gain information there. Um, I'm sure TikTok can be a resource to an extent too. I'm not a big TikToker, it's just not my jam. But that might help to kind of point you into some different directions. I definitely think books are a place to kind of really grow your knowledge of things. So if you find something that interests you, buy a book and just kind of take some time to explore it and see if that's something that you really resonate with. Um, and then I love all the tidbits of knowledge you impart in your videos, but so hungry for more. So I'm actually thinking about teaching a Reiki 1 class for those of you who might be interested. I'm working on putting it together, so it'd probably be early 2026. But with that, it would be like a level 1 class, and then we kind of would have some like professional development opportunities, but basically like a time where you can kind of get together to either practice, learn about something else, just kind of to expand your knowledge. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in it. But that is coming up. And then finally, thank you for being you. Thank you. Knowledgeable and talented, yet still humble, and for sharing with all of us. You are very welcome. I'm so happy to have this kind of platform to share this with you and to kind of share these sessions. So you are very welcome. Just going to grab a sip and also checking some comments here. Um, oh, I'm glad you like Indie Music Box's music. So basically, how I stumbled upon that was I was looking for music that is royalty free, and they have a huge selection. So they have a lot of great music. If you are ever looking for just really kind of relaxing music or, things like that, they have a huge list that you can kind of explore. I am really glad that you would like a Reiki 101. I'd be happy to, again, do something and then kind of offer multiple opportunities to practice or develop just because I think that a lot of times people offer a course and it's just, it's a couple hours or it's a day, but I'm a firm believer in practice makes better. So, having that chance to work with others or talk with others, I think would be really beneficial. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I feel like that's, see, it's like that 10th grade time. And I feel like that's really, especially when you're raised kind of one way, um, then like seeing something else, it really kind of opens your mind to think about different things. My family, for the most part, they're not extreme by any means, but it's just how we were raised. Where it was a very Polish Catholic family, but they like to go to Lilydale. They like to do all that kind of stuff. So it just more than saying no to it, it just kind of scared them. But once I really have started doing this, my family's very open to it. They ask me for tarot readings, all that kind of stuff. When you do Reiki and it is for people not in front of you, how do you connect with their energy long distance? That's a great question. So the way that I do it is typically I set the intention for myself that I am working with the collective. So the energy that's before me is all about kind of the energy that I'm looking at. I also use my little kind of chakra diagram. So when I'm working with the collective, these are the collective chakras that I'm working with. So I kind of use that to kind of help guide me. So for me, it's very much about intention, setting the intention of that's what I'm working with. And for the most part, I think it works swimmingly. I tend to kind of not have too many issues with connecting. And then when it's one-on-one, it's same concept, but we again focus that intention to just one person. So to me, it's kind of like the micro and the macro, right? So we're kind of connecting to the macrocosm when we're having one of those online YouTube sessions. So I think it's time to start working on our intention candles. So I'm going to pause here. So my website, it actually I do virtual appointments, absolutely. All you need to do is email me. So it's brad@nickelcitymystic.com. And then we can set up a time together because it's just kind of me as a one-man band. I usually just kind of book them as they come. So if you're interested, let me know and we can talk about it further. All right. So wax is getting just about there. I'm going to take my intention jar, and actually, before we pour any wax, I am going to put in a little incense and just kind of cleanse the container or the vessel, if you will. This is just kind of releasing any energy that it's picked up through its travel process or even just being in my office. So it helps to kind of give us a nice, fresh blank slate. Oh, you know what? There it is. And of course, frankincense. Frankincense is a beautiful all purpose incense. It is wonderful for clearing. It's very protective. It's great at raising energy or vibrations. So wonderful for doing this type of work. All right. Just getting it started here. I'm actually going to do both jars. Like I said, in case we have an oops, we have our backup. So just creating our sacred space, live sacred space. This is a space where you are wanted, a space where you are welcome. I'm so happy that you are joining me here on our live session together. So, like I said, I'm going to just let the incense flow in. Beautiful. And moving around the jar. Same for this one. Letting that frankincense flow. And then moving around the jar. Oops. Okay. All right, so putting this over here. And tucking that to the side. Wonderful. So for me, typically, I prefer frankincense. I like frankincense because it is all purpose. A lot of times when you are working with sage, it's harvested in a way that's not very kind to the earth. It's also sometimes appropriated to an extent. So typically, I like to stick with frankincense or dragon's blood. There are many types of incenses that you can use for a smoke cleanse. Like I won't lie, I still have sage that I've picked up and I still use, but these days my preference tends to be frankincense. So great question. Okay, so before I go any further, here we go. It's always the scary part. So this is heat safe. And this is where it's either going to go great or it's going to go amok. So my goal is once I pour these, not to touch this area so I don't make a mess, but we'll see. I might move them. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So as I'm pouring this, I'm just kind of envisioning golden energy flowing from my hand, bringing in that beautiful Reiki energy. I am going to, of course, charge these later as well. But just setting that intention that this is also a candle to collect our intention with Reiki. Sorry, I have to be so careful not to spill. Here we go. Again, focusing that Reiki through our pitcher to the wax. Okay. We did it. Okay. So as you can see, when the wax touches the side, because the glass is cold, it makes these like little ridges. So not a big deal. It doesn't affect anything. It's just because once it touches the glass, it instantly cools. All right, so wonderful. All right. I was holding my own breath. I was getting a little nervous. So, yes, my friend, you are not alone. You are in a kind and safe place. Of course, I always encourage you to reach out to your support network, your support system. Holding space for you, my friend. Okay. So, because I think we nailed it, I can put this one to the side and answer more questions than having to worry. All right, beautiful. Okay. All right, so so now we have our new intention candle. I left it with a little bit of space. Typically, beeswax and soy wax, as they cool, they will shrink a little bit. So we might have to kind of go back and do kind of like a top up, if you will. So, oh, thank you so much. And I'm going to answer a couple questions here. So I saw, do I have a mentor or mentor? Believe it or not, I do not have a mentor exactly. I, of course, follow people and I look at people who are inspirational to me. But I do not have a person that I specifically talk to, aside from my friends. And I bounce off a lot of my ideas with my friends. So I guess my friends are my mentors in a way, but they're more or less like a sounding board for me. I do once in a while use Palo Santo. This is a preference thing. The scent of it, I don't love the scent of it. So I think I've bought maybe one piece or so from a metaphysical store. It's just not my jam. To me, my favorite scent is actually frankincense. I feel like I should have a shirt at this point that says like frankincense. Ask me about frankincense because it's one of my favorite things. Another question was, can Reiki help people with chronic pain? So typically, the way that I always describe Reiki is that it is beneficial in helping with the relaxation process. There has been some studies done where they work with patients who have kind of chronic pain due to their cancer, and it does help alleviate those kind of symptoms of chronic pain. So while it's not something that can be used to necessarily act as your primary medical treatment or response, it's a really great supplementary treatment that you can use to, again, promote relaxation, and through that relaxation, promoting kind of the release of that chronic pain. So if you are in chronic pain and you are receiving already medical treatment and you're looking for something supplemental, I say why not if you're looking to give it a try to see if that helps to reduce or release some of that chronic pain. So I actually really like, obviously, Tip of the Moon. I think she's wonderful. And I also have worked with Cosmic Luna, who's also wonderful and does Reiki sessions as well. And then I also will periodically enjoy Sarah. I don't want to say it wrong. Reiki Dreams is her handle, and then also Reiki with Anna as well. I just think they're all very see, laryngitis, it's going to happen. They're all just very calming, very soothing, and I think they all do things a little bit differently, which I kind of enjoy. I like the variety, and I also like to see how different people work with Reiki and how they kind of, you know, show their practice, if you will. Yes, that's it. She is wonderful. Love her. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of these questions because Dan, your questions are actually kind of embedded in here through someone else. So we will get to it, I promise. So as this kind of cools a little bit before I can move it, let's keep moving through here. I did have someone also ask a question about, they said that they are an empath and they use their gift to help as many people as they can through their career. And they said, "I'm sorry to ask this, but can you please turn this off for me?" So unfortunately, I cannot. So people who are um, empathic, if you will, that's something that they kind of have to work within. So doing different types of exercises to help with your dimmer, if you will, just helping to kind of like turn that down. So whether it's meditations and visualizations, but working to kind of turn that empath dimmer up or down depending on your situation. Also comes with that whole boundary setting piece. So while we can set boundaries through word, also energetic boundaries as well. So in this case, I would recommend finding ways to practice meditation repeatedly, um, creating a real true daily practice. And with that, some of the visualization tools, such as shielding and grounding, are really, really helpful for when that overwhelm of emotions kind of come through. I'm not an empath. I consider myself an empathetic person, but I don't identify as an empath. However, there are many great empaths out there that I recommend perhaps kind of on YouTube, maybe even finding, or on the internet, or even in books, and just seeing what they recommend. A lot of times with empaths, it's kind of like a heart energy center overload. So just finding ways to kind of quiet that through, again, shielding and grounding to help kind of just bring it down a little bit. If you are, so this was from Chris. Chris, if you're interested in kind of talking about it further, feel free to shoot me an email and I will see if I can find some resources that are helpful for you. So, coming to, as I'm kind of going through, hello to friends who just got here. Welcome. So happy to have you here. And I'm just kind of looking through. All right. So, kind of going back and forth here. All right. So, I'm going to go through a couple more of these paper questions, and I'm going to kind of jump back to um, some of the questions and comments that we have over here. So, Petra has asked me, do I love what I do? Yeah, I would say that I do. So this is actually not my day-to-day job, if you will. This is just kind of it was a kind of like a side hobby that has gotten bigger and bigger as we're going here. To me, it kind of really started during COVID in the pandemic, and it felt like a way for me to kind of give back to the world or help support the world. And it just kind of keeps growing, which is great. So it's kind of taking something that I love and that I love to do and kind of give it and share it with others, which I think is wonderful. And I'm really grateful to kind of have this opportunity. So, yes, I do. And so I actually have not taught a Reiki course. I would consider myself more of a practitioner in the sense that I offer sessions, but I have not taught. However, I will hopefully be starting my first class in 2026. Um, and so I've talked about the other kind of mystic things that I practice, being tarot, runes, different kind of intentional practices. So, if I'm starting a new endeavor, I might create a bit of a ritual to kind of help springboard that endeavor with some extra energy. Some people might kind of think it more like spell work, but really to me, it's more kind of just a ritualized intention. And then, can you make a session for finding love or attracting love and for our pets? So on my Ko-Fi, there actually is a Reiki session for pets. So check that one out. And as for finding love, yeah, I think I have one about self-love, perhaps on Ko-Fi too, if I can't really remember. But usually around like February for Valentine's, we do kind of some love energy healing. Typically, I like to focus on the self. So it might be, clearing energy to help attract love, that kind of thing. So stay tuned for that. Usually that comes out around February for Valentine's. Um, I missed the do you do Reiki on your friends a lot? I do. Typically, when I get together with my friends, I try and separate, not really business, but like, my kind of more active working life with like my social life. However, it does inevitably tend to bleed into, oh, I'm having issues with this or this. Can you do some Reiki on that? Or, could you do a tarot reading for me to kind of help me with X, Y, or Z? I mean, I love it. So of course I always say yes. So I do it quite frequently. Um, and yeah, and I am sending love and hugs right back to you, my friend, in Croatia. It's amazing. It's fantastic. So, Whispers of the Wolf. I've never heard of that one. I will have to look at that. I'll write that down. The wolf. All right. So I do book for virtual appointments. Again, it's going to shoot me an email and then I'll respond to that email. So if you're interested in an appointment, you can fill that kind of page out and then I will respond to you. So if you did fill that out, stay tuned. I will get back to you. I promise. Okay. So yeah, going back to the chronic pain thing, again, I think it's a really nice kind of like sidecar. Um, so, if you're receiving medical treatment, I think it just pairs nicely. Again, it really kind of taps into that relaxation that our bodies need in order to kind of start the healing process. So, absolutely. The tarot reading videos. If you look at my earlier videos, I used to do them. Unfortunately, the YouTube algorithm hates them, for lack of a better word. They always tanked. So to me, it seemed like people did not enjoy them, so I had stopped making them. If it is something that people are interested in, I would absolutely love to do them. It just never ever took off. So then I kind of just stuck more with the Reiki things because that's kind of what people were resonating with. So that's why I kind of went that way. If you are interested in them, I would be more than happy to bring them back because I do enjoy them. It's just not something that everybody did. So if you're wondering why they didn't happen, that is why. Oh, you are very welcome, my friend. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we do have some interest. Love that. All right. Okay. Maybe you're right. I feel like I see a lot of tarot readings now on like other people's like channels. So okay, maybe we'll give it a go. In the new year, we'll step it up. We'll give it a try. All right. Going to do a couple more questions. So we have Lorraine who said, will you be offering classes? Yes, I will. Will it include information on runes? So that kind of is going into what I'm going to maybe create like that Reiki circle. So after you do like the initial level 1 course, you can kind of take opportunities to do other development where you might have like a little mini course on runes or something like that. In my opinion, I would want to keep Reiki in its purest form, so learning the kind of Usui way, and then once you have that foundation, doing it as you wish. So yes, and then you said your content is very unique. Thanks for all that you do. You are very welcome. Okay, so we had Dorothy who said, in your introduction, you always tell us that you are a practitioner of other mystic arts. What are these? I think I did answer that. And I would say in its entirety at this point. So I'm going to keep moving. And I need a sip before my... Okay. Sarah, your channel was my #1 most watched in 2025. Oh, well, I'm honored. I wanted to thank you for being a calming, grounded person. I can feel safe when I listen to your videos. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I have to say, the amount of kind comments and kind words that I receive on a daily slash weekly basis is I don't even know what to say. I'm just honored and grateful to receive all of this really kind praise. And believe it or not, that's something that really keeps me going. So it really helps to motivate me to kind of keep coming back every week, making sure that I'm getting these sessions done and made for you all. So thank you so much. All right, so then we have Renee. What changes have you noticed in yourself since starting the channel? What's been the most enjoyable or surprising part of your journey? Um, I have noticed. So I always kind of view myself as being a patient person. Um, but I feel like this really has kind of upped my patience and my dedication to something. Now that I've done it for so many years, and to kind of keep coming back week after week, making sure that I'm doing something, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like nurturing and raising it, it really has created this kind of deep sense of like dedication. And in a way, this has become part of my practice. So, sharing this with you and with you all is something that really has developed, and it really kind of has created this new dimension to my practice that I really appreciate, if that makes sense. So, definitely something that has kind of surprised me as it's grown. I didn't think it was honestly going to become what it is now and how it keeps growing. So that's really special too in its own right. Um, oh, thank you for the mug. Yep. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to jump back to the tarot. I do use sound. Typically, I have my little, here it is, my singing bowl for when I'm trying to do any type of sound clearing. I don't have as many fancy singing bowls as other people have had, which they're beautiful. Um, it's just I don't have the space at this point, but I do use sound, especially singing bowls, even if I'm kind of playing it through music to help clear. I also have little chimes as well that you might see in my videos here for sound clearing as well. Okay. All right. Marguerite asked if we can meet the kitties. One day, yes, I should just bring them. I honestly, I'm surprised they are not clawing at my door right now. They were sleeping, so I guess they're still sleeping. I'm sure Ollie and Skippy would be all over the back table if I let them in at this point. And then talking about the mystic arts and how I got started, and I had tackled that one. Mindy, same thing for practitioner of the mystic arts. I think I got all those. Michael asked, outside of ASMR, Reiki, and other mystic arts, what hobbies do you do? What do you do for fun? I am a big knitter and a crocheter, so fiber arts are something that I'm really interested in. Typically, my like go-to kind of relaxation is knitting and an audiobook. I'm doing a book club right now with my friend, and it's the bone season. I don't know what the overarching like it's 5 books. It's Samantha Shannon, it's the bone season, and now we're onto the mime order. So doing that, and that just kind of fills me with joy. I also like to dye my yarn, so kind of making it like an extra special project. Other things I like to do are gardening, lots of plant things. I actually went to the botanical gardens today. So just like doing that kind of stuff. Um, and then cooking and spending time with my friends. So my brother and I, we really like to cook. So usually every couple weeks we get together and do a whole cooking thing. Last week we had a pasta party, so we made ravioli and spaghetti and we did that kind of stuff. Bob Ross of Reiki, I love it. Yes. Okay. See, just like sometimes it's nice to have just something in the background while you're crocheting or while you're knitting. I was going to bring up my projects, but I didn't have the space. But typically, those are just what I have either on the couch or on my nightstand, just even before I go to bed. It's really meditative for me. Sometimes I have a hard time sitting still. So being able to move my hands is wonderful for getting me to relax. When did I first become interested in Reiki? Were there any inspirations? This is from Maria. So I looked back in my email for this to figure out when did I start, and I started in 2013. This is when it was like not, I feel like super popular, but it was just starting to kind of get some traction. And I actually did it through, it's now called the Reiki Healing Association. It was not called that when I started. And it was kind of heretical at the time because it was a distance attunement. And back then, the idea of distance attunements were, it was this big thing. So when I was doing it, I was so nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, is it really going to work? Is it really okay? Long story short, yes, it was. It was totally fine. But that's when I had first started. So now it's been 2013, and then 10 years would be 2023. So almost 13 years. It's a long time. Wow. I kind of feel old. But yes, so I've been doing it for about 13 years. How did I get into Reiki? So it was actually like, and this is from Cheryl, which I believe, I think I saw her in the chat. Oh, and there she is right there. Yes. So Cheryl, I think you asked, how did you get into Reiki, and do I have an in-person practice or is it online only? So I got into Reiki through my kind of just tarot led to one thing, led to another thing, and then I kind of found Reiki in college. I do not have an in-person practice. I would love to have a brick and mortar location. At this time, I do not. And to be honest, to balance it with my day job would be really tough. So I do sessions by appointment. And at this point, I'm doing them online through distance sessions. Angelique said, what made you decide to do Reiki and what was your learning process? So I actually did it online, and I read a series of books, and then I did the attunement, and then I would practice on my friends. So basically what I did is I found a series of books. I did my attunement, I did the course, I followed it through all the way. And then I took what I was kind of learning and I would practice on my friends, get their feedback, and go from there. And then I kind of started to slowly incorporate some of my own practices, or I would read something and it would really resonate with me and I would kind of try it out. So, like the clearing process that I do in my sessions, that's not typically a traditional Usui thing. That's just kind of something that after reading various books and kind of exploring other energy healing methods, it's something that really resonated with me. So I adopted it into my practice. Um, yes, I definitely agree that words have power. Um, and the inner self-talk, it's the gremlins, right? So when your inner gremlin takes control, it's the one who starts to lead you down the path that you don't want to be led down, right? So I always, if I do find myself saying that, I'm like, is that me or is that my gremlin? So sometimes identifying it in two different ways kind of helps you to figure out what is your true self versus kind of what is that little gremlin that wants to kind of sow seeds of chaos. All right. So Janet asked if we could have longer sessions. So ideally, and then also I had Lorraine who also asked if I could make shorter sessions. So ideally, yes, I would love to create a variety of different sessions of like 10 minutes. The ones that I have now, which go between about 30 to 50, and then perhaps even longer ones. Just given my own personal time constraints, I try and meet those as much as I can in the middle with that like 30 to 50 minutes. Um, so it's something that I definitely am going to kind of try and aim for, just knowing myself and knowing my schedule. It's kind of difficult to do all of those different types, but definitely something that I can work on. I was trying to do more shorts and things like that, but man, time wins sometimes, right? So it's for the new year. I'm going to try really hard to get those shorts going again. So we also have those kind of quickies too. Michelle asked, where does the Nickel City come from? That actually comes from a kind of nickname for buffalo. So back in the day on the nickel, there was a buffalo, so that's why it was the Nickel City. Darian says, what's your favorite part about having a Reiki / ASMR channel? That's a hard question. I would say my favorite part is being able to connect with others, but being able to connect with others in like a supportive kind of way. Um, I enjoy nurturing and connecting and supporting. So having this kind of opportunity or this kind of gateway to do that is really great. Excuse me, really great for me. So I would say that's probably my favorite is being able to connect and help and provide relief to others. Shannon was, what was the first mystic art you started dabbling in? That was tarot. And Maggie, how did you start the mystic arts? Which I think I answered. And then we have Chad is, what is your go-to song for relaxation? That's a great question. So I feel like, so it's going to be maybe, my job involves so much talking and noise that for me, if I'm going to relax, I need music that has no noise. So typically it would be like naturescapes or classical music. If it's I'm doing kind of more like just casual listening, my favorite artist is probably Stevie Nicks, Lady Gaga. Those are probably my favorites. I mean, as you can see, Stevie Nicks. So I would say those are kind of the music that I like to listen to while I'm like doing things. So not necessarily relaxing, but just kind of going through like my day-to-day life. But again, if I'm trying to specifically like calm down and relax, it's going to be more orchestral or going to be classical or even just like naturescapes. Sometimes I'll go on and just kind of find like different like piano kind of like mashups or things like that, like Studio Ghibli, they'll have like a piano type thing. I'll listen to that. So yeah. Okay, so that brings us through all my questions. Really funny that I thought I was going to be done in an hour, and we're just moving on to the Reiki box here. All right. So I'm going to walk you through the process of how I put together a Reiki box, and then we'll kind of just go and end from there. So basically, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to finish writing the names onto my little slips of paper. On the back, I write, it's kind of hard to see, I put the Reiki symbols, and then I put them in this really nice box. So this is actually a cedar box. Cedar is very, again, protective. So it just is going to hold all of these names, and I'm going to every day direct energy into this box. Again, with the intention of sending supportive Reiki energy to the folks who are within here. So I'm also going to be putting a few crystals as well to kind of support the energy of the month. And we're going to go from there. I guess really I should say lunar cycle because it's like one day after the new moon. So this will go for the whole kind of lunar cycle. And since we are in December and in the Northern Hemisphere, it is the winter solstice, I was going to put in this is golden quartz, sometimes called like the master healer. It's just a very kind of warm, healing energy. And I thought that really resonates for when it's the darkest time of the year, that little spark of light that we all have within to kind of nurture us. I also have a piece of rainbow moonstone. Rainbow moonstone is beautiful for new beginnings. And as we're kind of moving into our new year and we have a fresh start with our new moon, I thought this was going to be really kind of wonderful too. And then I just have a big piece of quartz. Quartz is a beautiful stone for holding energy, for radiating energy. So just putting that in here to kind of amplify and hold on to our Reiki. So close that here for a second. Taking a look at the comments here. Yes, I always talk about how this is a space where everyone is wanted and welcome, but most importantly, this is a space where we are kind to everyone. Everyone deserves kindness. Everyone deserves to be kind of given a space. So this is a space that is for you, no matter where you are, no matter when you are welcome here, and kindness is practiced here. So I'm really glad you like it because this is our natural kind of beeswax with a hint of soy. So it kind of lightens that beeswax up a little bit. So instead of being that real harsh kind of ambery yellow, it makes it this really nice kind of creamy yellow. Okay, so I'm going to start putting in some of these names. Make sure I haven't missed any. I'm glad you guys like the brushing. So that was kind of something that I wanted to add into as kind of just like a sweeping practice. So again, when we're doing, the clearing process, just getting a really nice way to shed energy that's just not working. So I'm glad you appreciate that. That was a gift to my friend when we went to Salem. And I've been using it ever since. So Paul, got that one. Okay. Wow, I am racking up the names. That's wonderful. Okay, making sure I'm not missing any other names. It's going past that, reading them, practicing. I agree with that. All right. Aaron, gotcha. Sorry, I can't read and talk apparently. Apparently I struggle. And then Dan, I got you too. Okay. I think that is everyone. A clean cut look. I kind of, you're not the first person I feel like to have like told me that I don't always, if somebody met me on the street, I don't strike them as necessarily being a mystic or sometimes even very much into energy healing and tarot. I guess it's like the like don't judge a book by its cover, right? I feel like that's like my people are always surprised when I mention that. It's I don't know. I feel like I just like that kind of style of very like easy, clean. I tried to grow my hair out a little bit. I couldn't take it. It made me crazy. So now I've cut my hair all back. And we're back to like kind of short. So yeah, that's just I always joke and I say it's a very Aries type of look in my opinion. So and I'm an Aries, so I just kind of have that look to it. Christiana, writing you down here, my friend. Okay. Then I got Carrie Lynn. And Nicole. And I got Jill. And Angie. Just getting everybody on here so we're all ready. And Silva. Okay. All right. So I know all these, surprisingly. I am a Aries sun. I am a Taurus moon. I am an Aries rising. But then I am Mars, Venus, and oh my God, what's the other planet? Mercury. Mars, Venus, and Mercury, Pisces. And then my Jupiter is Virgo. Yeah. I feel like the Aries mixed with the Taurus gives you like a middle ground because you have Aries who's very go, go, go. And then you have the Taurus, who's kind of slow and a little stubborn, which I don't see that in myself. Kidding. I'm very stubborn. Christy. Getting the dogs for Petra here. And Emily. And I nailed it. Okay. So runes are actually, they are done. Well, I assume you're asking if there's like more runes that are being created. So runes are actually just an alphabet. So they are the Elder Futhark kind of set. So basically they are kind of created and they're done just because they're based off an alphabetical system. Now, you technically can create your own runes and add to them if you wanted to, but if you were to buy a set from somewhere, they're always going to be the same. So if you wanted to, you definitely can get a book on them to learn about them. And then the cool thing is you can create what's called a bind rune. And a bind rune is where you take usually 3 or 5 runes and you put them along one axis to kind of create a rune set to kind of go towards something specific. So like if it's like safe travels on a journey or, clear thinking for study, that kind of thing, you can create bind runes like that. So that's a great question. I was born at 7:21 in the morning, which it's like funny because I'm born at 7:21 and then my brother is born at 7:22. So we're literally a minute apart. And we were both born on a Monday. So there you have it. All right. So I have all of these beautiful names. If you had put your name here in the chat or you had filled out the Google form, I got you. So to kind of even like show that, this is the yellowy paper is my forms and the white paper is from the chat as we're kind of adding here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just kind of just anoint your name with some of my own oil that I've made. It's called Odin's Wisdom. So just kind of setting that intention even further that your name in this moment, in this time, is being entered into this kind of sacred space where you are wanted, you are welcome, and any energy that goes into this box goes right back to you. Okay? So, all right. Happy you are here, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Just slowly putting and I actually am putting, when I'm anointing them, I am putting our Choku Rei symbol because that is kind of like the activation and it's the kind of mantra of like Reiki flows here. So Emily, gotcha. Got our dogs. Christy. I use the Elder. Though I do want to eventually kind of expand. Angie. I have this nice set that I bought when I was in Salem, and I've been kind of using that for myself as like my daily reader. Carrie Lynn. Cole. Christina. Aaron. Dan. Paul. Catherine. Rain. Oh, the Rain, did I answer your question? Did I talk about it? This is all coming back to me. I don't know if I did or not, Lorraine, but I'm going to say it right now. So, Lorraine, you had asked me a question about when I had moved my kind of like healing area, and does it kind of change the energy? And I guess I would say this: it doesn't really feel like a big energy shift because it's still so kind of concentrated in this area. If anything, I find that when I change things up, it feels like any energy that might have been stagnant is kind of reinvigorated. So movement for me is a really great way to reinvigorate kind of my practice and my energy. So it's something that I frequently enjoy. I have a really hard time sitting still. So for me, movement is wonderful. Tammy. I wish I did. Wish I was, what would we call it? Like, I suppose in my own way, I'm an artist, but I am not a media artist. I'm not good at I don't paint. I try. If you looked in my drawers, I think I have every single art medium because I thought I would try it out just to see if it was something that I was apparent like a genius. I was just waiting for something to just like pop out and I just become an instant genius at. So I have like watercolor, I have acrylic paint, I have oil paint, I have um what do I even have? I have like a bunch of like different like markers and things like that. And I use them from time to time. It's but it's not stellar. So, not kind of my thing. So actually I'm always looking for art. And I've been recently kind of trying to find like local art. So I'm kind of keeping my eyes peeled, just because I'm trying to, make sure that we're supporting our local artists and things like that. So everything that I have, like if you saw like the koi, for example, I almost dropped that. That was a gift. And then the where is it? Like the Stevie Nicks thing behind me. There it is. That's actually I bought it from the artist when I was in Salem. Salem was a great trip for me. Um, but yes, so there's that. All right, so that's a great question about Sagittarius. Yes, I would say like fiber art is definitely my thing. It's something that I'm finding does come pretty naturally to me, and it's very satisfying. The only challenge is that it takes time, so it's quite the time investment, you know. But it is kind of getting there. Yes, I would love for someone to, if anyone was ever willing to create art and, you know, talk about a price, that'd be great. Okay, so did I get everyone? I sure did. All right. It for sure takes practice, but for some reason, I thought for me, I would instantly be like, one of those like, oh God, savants, like a genius with it. And no, clearly no. Okay. Let me see did I miss anything else? I don't think I did. Wonderful. Okay. Just get one more sip. Okay. So at this point, we have all the folks who wished to be in our box. So as somebody kind of said, we have the moon in Sagittarius, or the new moon in Sagittarius for this month. Sagittarius is very, very direct, fast, and a straight shooter. So this is a really great time to, in my opinion, if you have a plan or a goal that you've been kind of looking to move along, this is your month to really do it. Typically, when we find Sagittarius in the tarot, like something like your Eight of Wands, which is, I think, moon in Sagittarius. Is it moon or Mercury in Sagittarius? I don't know. But basically, it's a Sagittarius card, and it means that it's kind of a very quick moving kind of situation. So when I think of Sagittarius energy, I think of something that is fast and direct. Sagittarius, again, is also just a very, in my opinion, they're very fun people to be around. They have a lot of great energy. So, to me, this isn't the time about going within, but rather really kind of pushing forward and just getting things done if you need them to get done. So, oh, don't be sorry for arriving late. There's always you can replay it later, so no worries. Happy to have you here. All right, so let's get started on this kind of finalizing our Reiki box, shall we? So what we're going to do is we are just going to grab a little frankincense. Now that we have all our names inside, make sure that it's nice and clear, and let's raise those vibrations. So it's all sitting on top of those crystals that we put in as well. Okay. And now what I will be doing is every day spending a little bit of time just gently placing my hands on this box to just channel some Reiki energy to support those who are in here with kind of what they're going through, with whatever support they might need, and just holding space for you. So, wherever you are, whenever you are, just knowing that every day this month and this moon cycle, really, I will be thinking of you and just kind of sending you some supportive energy. So, just to get it started, just putting our initial symbols of Chokurei, Seiheki, Honsha Zei Shonen, Daigomyo. Just taking a moment to just send some Reiki into our box to get it started. And if you want to just kind of anchor yourself in this moment too, why don't we just go ahead and take a couple breaths here? So we'll breathe in the nose and sigh out the mouth. So breathing in and out. In, out. And one more. In and out. And believe it or not, I can already start to feel like the energy kind of, it's probably about like this high off the box and around two. It's just slowly starting to push itself, just kind of showing that there's a lot of energy already in this box, supporting you for this moon cycle. Awesome. And we'll put it right here for right now. So just add it into my little shrine area. And there you have it. And so, my friends, thank you so much for being here and joining me for this kind of hour and almost a half of chaos, but I hope you really enjoyed it. I'm sorry that my throat is just kind of waning down here. It's just getting scratchier and scratchier as we're live. But thank you so much for being here. And I hope I answered the questions that were submitted, and I hope I did them well enough. If you need more information, you can either message me on Instagram or you can send me an email at brad@nickelcitymystic.com. If you ever wanted to kind of get more information about Reiki or learn more about my sessions, you can also email me as well or go to my website, which is nickelcitymystic.com. And I'm always happy to chit chat. So, did you all like this really quick before I all lose you here? If you did like this, let me know. It's just kind of a good indicator of if I should keep doing these more often. It's always nice to kind of really connect with you all. So I'm really happy to kind of do this with you. So maybe we'll kind of have a monthly Reiki box type thing going on that we can kind of set up. And I think that would be really helpful. Um, but yeah, you are all very, very welcome. I'm glad that you liked this. I hope it was relaxing. I hope you could kind of just put me in the background and do your thing, whether it's crochet, knitting, or something else. And yeah, so with that, my friends, I wish you the best. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Know that I am thinking of you during this time. And if you are kind of going through stress or grief or just you've got a lot going on, know that by coming to this channel, you are always in a safe space. I'm always thinking of you and you are always welcome. So, with that, I think it's time. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you next time.